Arrested for making a Facebook post. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because I'd like to have a talk about what's happened recently in Victoria with regards to a pregnant mother being arrested by the police over a Facebook post. Now, I'm not going to show the footage, you can find it everywhere else. It's been widely spread. I'm sure most people are familiar with it. But these are some stills of the young pregnant mother being handcuffed and arrested by police, them entering the premises, showing a warrant, which they technically don't have to do, and threatening, or I assume they took, all of the electronic devices in her house. Now, she live streamed it, which is fantastic, because this has gotten a whole lot of attention. Now, before we go any further, before we even discuss this, Facebook is banning news in Australia because of government overreach. The government is stepping in and managing the relationship between private organizations. They're propping up the old media that can't compete with social media. They're propping them up. They're forcing Facebook to pay. Now, I know a lot of people don't like Facebook. I know a lot of people aren't fans of them. But you've got normies can use it. People who are not tech sophisticated, people who can't set up things, they can press live stream and get their story out to the world. And that is invaluable. Now, I'd consider this news. If Facebook can't send out news, what will happen? Will people be able to do that? Will that freedom, will that element of safety, or at least showing your side of the story, will that be removed? That's part of how if it happens, that's a tremendous loss to all of us. And that's part of the unintended consequences of this government regulation and intervention. One rule to support Australian media and news, and the journalists who copy and paste from Twitter to one thing to another. Well, no, really, I don't blame the journalists. It's the companies that are, fighting for this. Could limit this freedom that we have. That's one thing to consider, guys. It's an unintended consequence. So this, I'm not entirely shocked by this, because I've been watching, the social media and the internet, what's been happening, particularly in the UK. In the UK, I've been following Sargon of Akkad for a few years, and I remember there was one instance of a lady, an old lady, that was critical of what was happening at People's Square, because people were I think they were praying there, and that wasn't allowed. No religious prayers were allowed of any kind. It wasn't for sermons, but it was for political debate and discourse. She recorded it. She made a complaint about it. Police barged in and arrested her. I tried to find the footage to get some stills for you. I can't find it. If anyone remembers that, can you please send that to me? Because it's a few years old now. But then also, I started tracking some stuff. I created, this is the freedom map that I made on my website, and I was updating different incidents, property damage, political assaults, locations, anti-free speech zones, like universities, and I started tracking it all here, but it just got too much. It just got too much, tracking all the property damage, what the anti-fascists are doing, physical assaults, attempted deplatforming, these type of things around Australia, particularly around Victoria. One thing I looked at was also the gang violence that Victoria didn't seem to be able to control, which surprised me that Dan Andrews got in, because I was tracking it. I saw how much was going on. People would say, oh, it's not a problem. I was mapping it on there. It got me quite depressed, to be honest, tracking that all the time, because there's a lot of it. We don't see a lot of it in the media. I had people sending stuff to me. I had police reports that were sent. So I've been looking at this for some time. Check it out, guys. Even here in Queensland, we had political assaults, I was recording different groups. So we don't have the level of freedom of speech that people suspect here in Australia. Not at all. I think this will be a wake-up call for a lot of people. And what did she do? What did she do? Well, before that, I also have done a video where I've gone through the state of emergency here from Justice Connect, and I'll link to that video up above. I'm just looking at my time over there so I can put in the timestamp. And you can have a look at that, because the police now have these, because of the powers that have been put in place, they have the power to go into your house, to seize anything, they don't need a warrant, they can detain people, they've got a lot of power. That's why I'm concerned of the politicians that have pushed this through, that have waved this through. The Reason Party, the Animal Justice Party, the Greens, Labour, I suspect Hinch's party as well. Wasn't he an interesting character? He really became a, turncoat, didn't he? Really became a turncoat. So have a look at that. Now, this has made international news. It's in The Guardian, The New York Post, The Age, Sydney News. People are surprised and outraged. I could never have imagined this in Australia. So what did she do? She did a post, and this was the description of the event. So she was a host of an event. Now, I've removed all the identifying details because, frankly, I don't want to risk encouraging it. I just want to discuss what she said here. So she wanted to organize a peaceful protest. Well, you can't do that anymore now. With the emergency powers, you can't do it. I know people will go, well, what about the BLM protest that happened in Melbourne? And I'm critical of that too. Seems like a double standard. But they didn't get their authoritarian powers until now. You've got to thank those politicians that voted that extension for those powers, because this is what they're empowering, everyone. This is what they're empowering. Every one of them who voted for it. So all those social distancing measures are to be followed so we don't get arrested, please. Please wear a mask unless you have a medical reason not to. September 5th is Freedom Day. As some of you may have seen, the government has gone to extreme measures and are using scare tactics through the media to prevent the Melbourne protests. Here in Ballarat, we can be a voice for this in the stage 4 lockdowns. We can be seen and heard, hopefully make a difference. End the lockdown, stand for human rights. We live in a free country. See, this is the thing. We don't. We don't live in a free country, everyone. We don't. Not at all. If you want to live in a free country, people need to stop voting for authoritarian parties. It's that simple. You need to stop voting for parties that restrict your rights, restrict your freedoms, that see justified in forcing people to give up a fair share of their own property for the greater good. Because this is just an extension of that. This is just an extension of that. There's a tremendous risk when the state takes more power and values one person over the other, or takes your freedoms for the greater good. There's a historical precedent there that we should all be aware. So let's have a look at Twitter. Some posts here. This is Breitbart News. Police in Australia arrest a pregnant 28-year-old woman in front of her partner and 2 children. Wednesday for allegedly planning a protest and promoting it on Facebook. So, Austin's going way, way over the top. It was our lefty state Victoria, where the Premier is in bed with another country. Australians are horrified. That's some Orwellian stuff right here. Well, guys, this is what happens when you vote for lefties. This is what happens. Well, authoritarians, really, because, it depends on how you see the political spectrum, guys. Could you see this happening in a liberal state? Yeah, 100%. 100%. My eldest is a cop in WA, Australia, 23 years service. Years ago, I said to him, before too long, expect curfews, armed soldiers on every street corner asking for ID. It's here in Australia now. I was half joking, hope it would never happen. When American liberals tell USA should be more like the rest of the world, this is exactly what they mean. This is it, guys. And look at some more posts. Time to move 1984 to the non-fiction section. They're monitoring what you're saying. Would have never thought of Australia like this. I guess freedom is only here in America. And Aaron has a point there. Yes, it is. It is only there in America. You have freedom of speech. It's part of your constitution. You've got protection for the media. It's part of their constitution. The American Constitution is a fantastic invention. I wish they just combine it with our preferential voting system. What's Campbell Newman written? Let's have a look at his one. The Victorian police, shame of the nation. Unwilling to deal with youth gangs. Exactly. No, that seems to have just dropped off the radar, doesn't it? Dropped off the radar. Or what about when Stephen Molyneux and Lauren Southern were here in Australia, and they were just harassing their protest. They were causing damage, and they threatened the organisers of it. David Pellow was sent bills from the Victorian police to pay. Insane. Utterly insane. The scary thing is you don't want these rules extended, because this is the power it gives the police. This is the power it gives them, guys. And they'll justify it. Oh, I'm just doing my job. Oh, we're protecting everyone else. Because police do that. Here's a book you should read. Ordinary Men. Jordan Peterson recommends it. I'll put a link to it down below if you're not familiar with it. The shocking account of how a unit of average middle-aged Germans from Police Battalion 101 became cold-blooded murderers. Don't think great evil isn't beyond the grasp of normal people. It certainly is. It most certainly is. And this is just one step down the path, everyone. One step down the path. I'm hoping this will wake up a whole lot of people to realize how far it's gone. I'm hoping, maybe naively, I'm hoping it is not too late that we can turn a corner and move away from this authoritarian rule over us in Australia. But I suspect there'll be a lot of people cheering for this. Just as many that are protesting, there'll be Australians that are cheering. Compromised totally over Lawyer X. Waved through the BLM protesters. Found a job they can do. Enforce a tyrant's draconian laws against normal Australians who simply want to earn a living and get on with life. Yes, that's it. You can't. We're the cattle. I watched Mike Maloney this morning. He's quoting, "Be careful when the government stops seeing you as a milk cow and starts seeing you as beef cattle." So, oh no, I didn't have anything else there. So there we go, guys. What do you think? Have you read Ordinary Men? Maybe it's time we all did. Maybe this should be recommended reading at school. The poor lady, she was obviously scared, and she was taken charge. She's on bail. My understanding is she has to appear now before the court in January. So I hope she's okay. I feel sorry for her. Just trying to voice a counter argument to this, but sadly she can't do it anymore because of the powers that have been granted by her leaders, by the people representing her in Parliament. What do you think? You surprised this happens in Australia? No. How long till this is our future? As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. I know this can be quite confronting for some people, but we need to keep hope and advocate for personal liberty, responsibility, and we need to get more and more people politically active so we can shift the Overton window, so we can move away from statism, so we can move away from authoritarianism, so the focus can be on individual liberty and freedom. This is just a continuation of their entire ideological position. Okay, first, one day it's having positive discrimination to protect particular groups, and then a few steps over, oh, sorry, that's an incorrect thought you published there. We have to come and have a chat to you. Oh, sorry, no, you can't have that gathering. It's not permitted under this section. Sorry, only the people in District 9 can eat this month. Let me know your thoughts and opinions, guys. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, have a great day, and I will see you all in the next episode.